Like for example, a stormtrooper card that's drawn on the card and such, and then it has a signature on the back of
Okay.
that. So that's one of the things that I like.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Gen X Grit, veteran-owned business built different. And today I've got another special show with some amazing people that I know you're going to enjoy on a topic that we have yet to cover. So get your pen and papers out, take some notes, follow along. You might like this one. It's going to be pretty good, and it's a nice little blueprint because it's a popular topic. So without further ado, why don't you go ahead and introduce both yourselves?
I'm definitely I served 20 years in the military with Eric. I retired, and then one of my hobbies has turned into a small little business of collecting Star Wars cards and reselling them.
Yeah. So my name is Bryce Lee. I'm the son of Jeff Lee. I'm currently active duty right now. I'm a sergeant. My MOS is a 60 Echo. I'm a dental specialist slash dental hygienist. Currently stationed on Fort Drum. Been in the Army for about 6 years. Yeah, same thing with my dad. Sell, buy cards. It doesn't really matter what it is. It can go all the way down from Pokemon cards to Stranger Things cards to Star Wars cards. We don't really have a limit for us.
All right, Jeff. Of course, I'm going to start off with you since we've got history. We got a lot of history. We go back to the days of Huachuca, and that's not the only place we've intersected in Korea. And I want to say at one point we intersected in Texas.
Um, Depends when you were at Hood, if you were at
Probably,
Hood,
yeah, I believe so.
and so
The
but
first iteration, the first
first
time.
first iteration was for Huachuca,
Yeah.
19th Sig inside the CMDSA, and such there when we were both specialists and such, and always always on the front row basically.
Hmm.
And then we met in Korea when we were both working at the J6. And then I was at the upper part, you were at the lower part, Camp Coiner, and then we moved on to bigger and greater things probably when we were at Huachuca and when we were back in Korea when I had just was a CW2.
Right. And I was just getting ready to say that. Like I said, you and I both linked up in the beginning when we were specialists, but then you went the route of Warrant, where I went the route of, and if anybody knows me, disgruntled NCO.
You could say it that way.
Say it that. I will say it that way. But okay, so you went Warrant and you did that. And what did you retire as? I want to
Uh,
say three or four?
Three promotable. The day I
Okay.
retired, the next day I was supposed to be in a four, but that was just neither here nor there. But I had actually was a 948 Bravo. I was asked to reclass into a 353 Tango, which is the MI. Went from ordnance to MI. It was still maintenance, but I was original as just like Eric was original 29 Sierra crypto ComSec repair person, where originally it was the MOS uh, was classified and it was declassified thanks to our lovely friend John Walker and his family.
Thank you, John.
Sarcasm at its best.
Yes, sir. Now, Bryce, you said that what was it, a 60 what?
I'm a 68 Echo.
68 Echo. So what made you want to go into that field?
Well, if you asked my dad whenever I told him I wanted to enlist, he would have looked at you that I was crazy, right? I had no interest of joining the military. As you know, my dad was a JROTC instructor and I played sports at the time, and he wouldn't let me play any sports unless I was in his class. And it was about junior year where he forced me to take the ASVAB for it. Took it whenever I was in high school. I got a decent score. But then I was like, you know what? I don't really have any plans. I don't really want to go to college. So why not enlist? Whenever I had my jobs, they saw 60 Echo dental specialists, and everyone in the recruiting office was like, oh my gosh, that's a unicorn job. Gosh, like we've never seen that before. It's really, really hard to get that one. So I was like, why not? And it's a choice that I have not regretted since. Medical has one of the biggest ways to commission as an officer. We have the highest rate, doesn't matter what medical MOS has enlisted that you are. We have the highest rate to commission as officers. And I love patient care, right? I'm able to do a one-on-one. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're a private to all the way to the CG on post. Like I'll treat you the exact same. And what I've come to find out with being in that job is just, I love patient care. I love being able to help not just soldiers. I don't like treating them as numbers, but I like treating them as individuals.
Oh, that's good. I'm sorry for laughing earlier at the one point where you said your dad forced you to go ahead and take the ASVAB, because I could actually hear him and see him saying that as soon as you said that.
Actually, what ended up happening is I sit there and did the old Twisted Sister song and says, what do you want to do with your life? And the real thing was that when he was there, and he was actually a sophomore, and he came to me and he said he wants to join the military. And I said, why? Now, the real reason was because a guy that was a senior was offered, at this time, it was $35,000 to take this one MOS and such. And the guy turned it down just to join the military. He says, no, I'm not going to do that. And so the guy went ahead and went his own way. But Bryce was like, $35,000? You can freaking turn $35,000 away? And so that's what happens with 15, 16-year-olds sitting there going like, you mean I could, it finally just clicked with him, because it did. And so that was one of those things there was like, okay, I'll take the ASVAB. So it wasn't me twisting and shaving all the hair off of his arms or anything.
So was that considered I believe, what was it called, the Star MOS at the time? Because it was just rare that it came up. Or was the Star MOS more of MOSs that we need to fill because they're depleted or whatever?
So Star MOSs are like exactly what you said. They're depleted, right?
Okay.
However, what they would call it is like it's a unicorn one. I would have patients that are recruiters, because I'm stationed on Fort Drum. We would get people that are nearby and they're recruiting, and they say, I've never had anyone for how long I've been doing recruiting get 60 Echo, because it's so hard for us to just find like the good people for it. It's really, really
very small field.
Yeah. It's a really small field. You basically know everyone that's in this field. You'll know someone that knows somebody, or you've heard of this name, you've heard of that name. It's because just in dentistry and just medical as a whole in the Army, it's just so small. And yeah, just everyone that I've known that's probably a recruiter has never had anyone enlist as a 60 Echo.
Because I know I've never heard of it before. I mean, obviously we knew about it, but I never knew. You couldn't have asked me what's the MOS for. It's like, couldn't even begin to throw a number out there. But it's good that you had a chance to grab it and run with it. That's a good thing.
No, yeah, of course. Because if I told you in the beginning, right, I went over to Germany for my first 3 to 4 years in the military and I hated it, right? But I know it sounds like kind of contradicting, but coming to Fort Drum and having like one-on-one patient care has like helped me like love like the job, because everyone says like Fort Drum like is one of the worst duty stations, but being here has like helped me develop myself as like a soldier and an NCO as well.
Oh, your father and I, we know a couple bad ones, believe me.
Yeah, sometimes they got to look at you kind of straight.
Hey.
But I'm bummed.
All right, Jeff. Yeah, like Bryce said, you did get out and you went the route of JROTC, and that put you in Southern Indiana.
Yes, because actually I am from Southern Indiana, not necessarily Indiana part, but from the other side of the river of Kentucky. I'm actually from Owensboro, Kentucky. And
Right.
so that's where I, departed to join the military and such. But then a position opened up. I got into JRTC because a good friend of mine, Lynn Taylor, who's in Fort Worth, he was a warrant, and he retired in the Fort Worth area and was a JRTC instructor and such. And as you know, I was already at the schoolhouse teaching the 29 Sierra 35 Echo course at the time before. So I do know how to teach. I've taught some college classes and such. Okay, so that made it easier to transition into high school, even though it is high school compared to going teaching college or military personnel.
And Bryce, I believe we said you have 6 years. And how long are you leaving drum anytime soon? Or
Yeah, that's a great question. I literally just re-enlisted. I'm going back to Germany. My wife is German, right? She's already over there. I'll be going there in 2 months. I'll be there until my ETS day in 2029. Then we'll see after that, you know. If the wife doesn't like it, I'll get out. That's how I kind of see it.
we are kind of going back to Germany, and she is German. And believe me, if anybody knows about the German wife trying to get back to Germany, it's this guy right here. And I've been fighting my best to try to get back there. I may not get there for a government job anytime soon, but we're looking forward to 2 weeks. So, what area was you at last time in Germany?
So I was in Stuttgart. I was in Bavaria last
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah, really, really small population there, really high ranking individuals over there. But this time I'm gonna go to launch. So I'm gonna be at the hospital working on
Right.
it.
Yeah, that would be the spot, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, do they besides launch do they because I know they were closing up a lot of places. Do you know if they still have any remote sites available or anything of that nature, or is everybody just detoured to launch tool?
No, so there's actually multiple bases to where we could go, right? We could go to Vilsec, Graf, Ansbach, Wiesbaden, Baumholder. There's actually a lot of bases for us to go because wherever soldiers are, they need medical personnel, and that's
That
where
is
we're
true.
at.
Outstanding. All right. Now we established Jeff is over in JROTC doing his thing, and you're doing your thing at drum. So now the question comes to what was the first time that either one could chime in on this? Um, First thought of, hey, these playing cards, different type of playing cards, Star Wars playing cards, whatever type of playing cards. What first introduced you to them?
Well, the first thing that we actually did was that we always, of course, with the Pokemon cards, is where we probably actually really started it from, was when Bryce was younger and I had just retired and we were here in Evansville, Indiana and such. And we had saw some stuff on, I believe it was eBay, where it was some new sets of Japanese Pokemon cards and such. And so we got, I believe Bryce can correct me wrong, 2 to 3 boxes, I think it was, of these coming up to be highly sought after cards and such. And so we just kept them. And then I think it wasn't until Bryce actually joined the military and stuff, we didn't actually look at them until then. So that's probably an 8 to 10 year period there where we had these things there. And so always been a big Star Wars fan, and so cards have come out. Topps controls the card market on Star Wars cards, and so they have different sets. Some are higher quality and value. Some of them are a little bit lower, and you're always looking for certain things out of them. Of course, autographs by the people that are either voice actors or the actual actors themselves and such. And so they have rarities and stuff like that, like just like they do in sports cards of like a 1 of 1 or something out of 5, something out of 10, something out of 25, something out of 50, 100, etc., going as far back as probably as much as 299 or 199. And so we got into it, and it was basically probably within the past, probably year and a half to 2 years, where we were, really rocking and rolling and such. And he would buy cards and such, and I would buy cards. And of course, he has some cards there in New York, and then I have cards here that are both of ours and stuff. And so we place them up on eBay, and some of them we sell, and some we don't. We do have a few personal collection cards that we like. Some things that we're like, wow, okay. But then others, it's basically smaller version of flipping houses. Basically, you get a card, you wait for a person gets hot or a set gets hot. You go ahead and you do that with same thing with Star Wars cards. And the
Okay,
movies and movies help out a lot.
right. When you're collecting cards, I know you said you held on them for about 8 to 10 years before you decided to actually even open them or whatever. And while you've been in here, how does one take care of the card? I mean, do you categorize it? Do you plastic it? How do you try to keep it in its best form?
Yeah, so I can answer that one. So the best way to take care of like a car, let's say you have a car, right? And you have like a really like a really I don't really know cars, but you want to take care of your car, right? You're going to clean the car. You're going to make sure that it's nice. You're going to make sure it's not scratched up. You're not going to go onto like this crazy like dirt road track. So the way that like anyone takes care of cards, right, is that you'll kind of take like a plastic sleeve, cover the card, then you'll put it in a plastic covering. And that most of the time takes care of the card, right? Because you don't want to beat up car, right? Whenever you buy a car, and it's the same thing with cards. You don't want to beat up card whenever you get it. So we, depending on what we do, we'll sometimes open up packs ourselves, but most of the time we get cards and they're already kind of protected like that. It really is kind of just like flipping houses, as like my dad said. You get a card, you buy low, and then you sell high, and we've been really successful with that.
So,
In terms of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so an example of it is I'll use this Anthony Edwards card here that we have, and so what we'll do is that we get the card, we'll actually put it into a plastic sleeve like such. Okay, and then it'll fit right in, and then you take another. It's a top loader card, is what it's called, and then you just go ahead and you'll slide it in, and then you actually have it protected where it then stays into the in there, and it doesn't move around, and it stays protected. And stuff like, for example, you hear me hit it to bring it
Right.
down, but whereas it's not like it was before. As Bryce like to say back in the day, where you could just take your regular cards and just go ahead and just set them out like a deck of playing cards, where they could get grubbed up or whatever. So your
Mhm.
thing is, whereas like if you really like this, say Anthony Edwards card, and you want to keep it, or whatever the case may be, you're like, oh, okay. Or you never know, somebody may sit there and say, hey, you know what, you got one of those. You can sell it then, or whatever the case may be. But at least it's protected.
Okay.
For corners, surface area, edges, and believe it or not, the whether or not it's actually dirty on the card. So
Um, Bryce, when you go to Germany, when you was there in the past, because I know Jeff just said that picking up Pokemon cards from Japan or whatnot, so obviously they're different. Are they also different in a sense in the European region?
Oh, 100%. So luckily, having a PX on post, you're still going to get everything in English. But what was also really cool while I was over there is that you're able to get cards that are in German, and basically the value kind of is based on, let's say Pokemon, for example, is if you can read it or not, right?
Mhm.
So the English market for Pokemon cards is way higher than for Japanese cards. Only reason for that is because if we can read it. Um, but in Germany, I was able to get kind of more exclusive stuff when I was over there because we've been in this game for a little bit, and I was kind of able to get like whatever I wanted compared to like the hype nowadays to where you see people fighting each other online just to get stuff.
Costco.
Yeah.
With this business that you guys have, is it more of an online business? Do you go out to vendor events? What is your day of like a logistical thing like? Do you go out
Yeah.
there, and if it's online, how's that process go?
Yeah, so for us, we're mostly an online store. So me and him in total, we sold about 1.3 thousand items on eBay. In total, over 70 to $80,000 worth of cards that we have. The main thing that kind of has to come down to it is that what my dad said is that we both have cards for here in Fort Drum and then in Indiana. Another thing that he forgot to mention is that we both have each other's cards here, so it's trusting each other to where like if I sell your card, you're making sure that you're getting that card, or if you sell my card, making sure that that's yours, right? Um, for us, it's really really simple, right? So we kind of have a process of doing it. If you were to ask my friends or my wife, my dad is kind of like the handler. I'm like all the online stuff guy. I handle all the numbers. I handle everything, the negotiations with people. Um, that's just I'm the online person. My dad is the physical person. Sometimes we'll do like,
Logistics.
yeah. Sometimes for here, for me, I'll go to like Facebook Marketplace and sell some stuff on there, or there are like real life card shows. But basically, for us, that we are like our own vendors, but online. So we basically get to decide what we want to sell a card for, and it's our inventory.
When you're going through and you're looking for cards, like you said, treat them like you're flipping houses and such. Where have some of the areas where you've managed to actually, lack of a better term, hit a gold mine and actually turn profit on that?
So I'll use myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is luck and predictability. So I'll use an example. Have you ever heard of the show Stranger Things?
Yes.
So I got a bunch of cards from the actors really, really cheap. Mind you, I never saw Stranger Things at the time. So I had the Duffer Brother autograph cards. I had Sadie Sink, who plays Max. I
Okay.
had Millie Bobby Brown, Mike Wheeler, Dustin Henderson. I just sold a card for $450 of a Dustin Henderson card. Um, and what that was is that my wife got me into Stranger Things, and I was like, oh, this is like a huge thing. Well, season 5 didn't come out yet.
Right.
Then as soon as the season starts coming, all of those cars just sell straight away. And that was kind of like my own personal gold mine, is because I just sat on them, not for that long, maybe for like 6 months to maybe a year. And then I was able to triple, quadruple my price that I actually paid for them.
I'll see. Okay. Jeff's holding up a card.
This is the
Is that
card
the
he just sold
Ghostbuster
this
one?
week.
Or
What
is
was
that
that?
the Stranger Things playing of Ghostbusters?
Yeah, that's the Stranger Things. Yeah, that's of Dustin Henderson. I believe that's from season 2. And I
Season
bought
2.
that. Yeah, I bought that card for $132, and I sold it for $450.
Nah, good turnaround.
Yeah.
So it's also numbered. Some like I was telling you earlier before. This one's 2 out of 10 that it's
Right.
sold. And such. So a lot of it is. It's like speculating on a prospective baseball player or a rookie running back in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead and do it. He brought one of the things up here that me and him had talked about was that this is a sketch card. So this means
Okay.
that it was actually done by an artist, and then what they do is that they sign it on the back in such that it is. And so this becomes a rarity, just like you would do. I'm not comparing it to Picasso, but it's like a one of one type of
Right,
thing.
right.
So this was just in Stranger Things. And one of the things that I like and he likes as well is that it does the same thing in Star Wars. So, for example, I go through a whatnot stream with a friend that I know that's up in Anderson, Indiana. His name is Midway Heat, and so like for example, a stormtrooper card that's drawn on the card and such, and then it has a signature on the back of
Okay.
that. So that's one of the things that I like that he likes a little bit of, but I think I got more sketches and such with it and everything. But it's about speculating in what it is that you like.
A few moments later.
One again, it got frozen a little bit.
Okay, so it's about a popular character. Same way you may like Ryan Sandberg from the Cubs. Okay, so
Okay.
Ryan Sandberg, all respect for him is that, but there are people out there that all they want to do is collect Ryan Sandberg. Okay, and so the
Right.
same thing is, so you got all the different characters as you know in Star Wars. One of the hottest ones now is the Mandalorian and Grogu. Ahsoka is a hot one. And so of course you got your regulars of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, etc. So it all depends upon what you got, what it is, and then if you can get those, excuse me, those higher, lower numbers, I guess you could say one of ones, out of 5, out of 10, out of 25. Those are the ones that you tend to get. You get them when they're hot, and then and go from there.
Okay. So you got this going on. Is your only place of business on eBay, or is there any other place they can find you online?
Uh, we've talked about doing like other social apps. But I think eBay, the reason why we really like eBay is that it has protection for us as the seller. Another thing is that millions of people use eBay every day, and you're not just selling to people. Let's say if I was to use Facebook Marketplace, people in my area, right? You're selling to people all over the world, right? And that's what's so good about it is that eBay is the number one thing where people buy stuff. Really, it's kind of like an easier way than Amazon, right? Because there's everything on eBay. And that's some places where we also buy cards as well. So that's where we're able to get a name out. And for us, it's just the easiest way for us to sell cards.
Okay. And just to go over a finer point, you do your Stranger Thing cards, you do Pokemon cards. Are there any other realms that you cover?
Basically everything. There isn't really like a limitation on like what there is. The way that we kind of invest or sell or buy is basically like what we like. So we like sports, we like football, basketball, soccer. It doesn't really matter what it is. There's Stranger Things, there's Star Wars. Star Wars is our number one, but we also sell a lot of higher end sports cards as well.
Yeah.
There's not really any limitation on like what there is. It's basically like what we like, and that's what makes it so fun is because we sell what we like and like what we grew up on or like what we like in the moment.
Okay. Do you have any, you guys looking at any short, long-term plans? Anything you got your eye on? Anything you feel that this might be coming in the future? So let's go ahead and stock up.
I think for us, from what we've seen, the card market is booming right now. There's not anyone that probably hasn't heard about it. Even my coworkers have heard about it. If I was to tell you 2 to 3 years ago, everyone in my unit was looking at me like I was crazy because I had all these cards. But now it's like they're questioning like, oh, how can I do this? How can I do that? Because
Mhm.
it doesn't really take that much time to do, and it's really, really simple as long as you kind of understand how a market works. It's really easy to get embedded into it. I would kind of say for us, it's Star Wars cards. It's really hard to get Star Wars cards now. Reason being, they're just making better sets of people. Star Wars is getting more popular by the day. They're making more series. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is coming out this May. They're making new animated series that's coming out. So Star Wars for us is anything. Dad can tell you he tried to buy a new set that just came out and it sold out in 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a new set coming out, the Smuggler's Outpost. You go to Tops, and as you know, of anything that happens with the internet, it can crash a site. Everybody's trying to get it, and so what ends up happening is I only know of one person who got 4 boxes. Everybody else I know of, it would hang up inside of the cart to try to check out. And so I had 2 sitting there. I wasn't being greedy. Some people in there go in there and they get greedy and such. And then what happens with the Star Wars market has happened is that people who are there on any type of platform, whether it be Fanatics, eBay, whatnot, they know what is hot. And so if they know that something's coming out, it doesn't matter if they're just in baseball or football. Some of them are going to go after some of the stuff that's coming out. For example, they know that Star Wars cards are out. So now those same boxes that I was telling you about, I was going to try to get them for about 320, I think it was. And so now you can't even buy them to where they're not $600 a piece.
Mm.
And so that's where the market value goes out. Now that was the pre-sale, so hopefully in March they'll come out and it won't be as high. But that's what ends up happening with the initial run. And so there's a lot of people who sit there that are trying to make money on this. If you look at Whatnot and eBay and Fanatics, like I was telling you, you'll see a lot of people on there. And there's some people that are very dishonest with stuff. We've had some stuff, that you sit there and you send something that you know that you've done very well on taking it in the packaging. I'll use this one card for example. This right here is a great card. It's Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, and Josh Allen. This is a great card. Well, it was until we got it back from the for the customer and such, and they had actually bent this card and actually taken it to where it looks like it's going to fall apart because this has a picture piece of memorabilia that's there from these three players and stuff. This is probably a $500-$600 card. Okay, you got Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes on it. Okay, but the thing about it is, it's now all bent and such, and so the guy wanted his money back. But there's some people out there that are just dishonest about what it is that they do, and so we keep this just to sit there and show, like, hey, we do take care of our cards, and our rating proves that. And so this is one of the biggest upset cards that both of us are like, yeah. And Bryce will probably go, why am I keeping this thing around?
For an example for people who shop.
Exactly. And for people to know that, hey, you know what, there's some people, as you well know, in this in the things that you do, that people are honest and people are really truthful, and they're trustworthy enough to do the right thing. And then of course you have that, at 5% that are out there trying to screw somebody to get over, and then just so they go ahead, you know what, and so that's kind of what happened with this card. So it's like, all right.
Well, it looks like you're keeping a good hold on it. You both are truthful and honest. You're going through eBay, so you're making sure to keep everything correct and keep it
Well,
online. And
eBay protects the customer as well, and also us. So that's a happy medium where they have rules and such that are in place, and they actually know what is BS and what is not. And then sometimes they'll go ahead and do it because they want to keep it going and such as well, because that's their platform.
exactly, and they want to make sure they have good people on their platform, both ends. They don't want nobody trying to screw the other over.
Slice you somebody out, yes.
Yep. All right. Any final thoughts from either?
Nope. Glad to be on here.
Of course. Anything to push you guys? Anything to get out there?
Well, it's fun, but it's. I appreciate it, Z. What ends up happening is that this is something that we do, and believe it or not, I think that what ends up happening is it brings us closer together as father and son as well. But I have a younger son, his brother, and such, and he's like looking into it to where it's like, okay, what can I do? What can we sit there and do to do some things like that? Not just to where it's like, hey, it's movie time. Let's go ahead and watch the movie and stuff. To where it's like, hey, I know who that is. I know, like I said, these cards have voice actors and such as that nature, and signatures. I mean, you name it. You get Christian, get the people, Hugh McGregor and such to sign cards and stuff like that. Padme, Natalie Portman and stuff like that. Those things go up in value, with rarity and such. But that's what happens. But I appreciate the things that you do and such, and so it's a good thing to get out there for people to understand. And we're not 100% right, but this is just how we run it with us.
I think for us as well, I think it's really in today's society, it's really hard to create a business for yourself and a name for yourself. And it's even more difficult to make that business successful. I think what kind of makes our situation unique is that we are a father and son business, but we're hundreds of miles away from each other. And that trust and confidence is still there. And even I'm active duty, right? There's a lot of people that don't know how to take care of their money, or they want to try to figure out how to make more money for themselves. So I think it's, for us, our situation is really unique on like how we do this and like how our business model is as well.
It sounds like a great father and son family, veteran-owned business, and I wish you both the best of success. I know it's going to go far, especially like you said, lots of distance between you, but a lot of trust and working with one another, and you're able to attack from multiple fields to provide what's best for the customer, and also, get something nice for yourself on the other end. So it all works out. And
Yes,
I just want to thank you both for being on the show today. I truly appreciate you both coming on. Definitely going to have your link in the comment section and in the description, especially when you're looking off YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. They've got a lot of stuff you definitely want to check on in there. And they're going to take care of you 110%. All right. We're going to go ahead and cut it here. And then I'm going to have some final words. And I'll see you in a few. And that was Jeff and Bryce Lee talking about their father and son card empire. What an amazing story. Like I said, I served with Jeff. I worked with him in a couple places around the world. Grew up knowing his family. He was back in the days again, 94 through 98. I want to say he was here in 95 in Huachuca area. And now he's doing great things in the southern part of Indiana. And his son Bryce hanging out at Fort Drum, getting ready to move on back to the country I've been trying to get to for the longest time. And hopefully it's very soon, because there's a lot of stories in Germany I would love to cover. All right, that's gonna do it for today's show. Tune in next time. Next time you see Gen X Grit, veteran-owned business built different. I will have a conversation with a Navy veteran who is running his own gym and has, in a way, been helping out Lynn Flambino, if you remember her from a couple episodes. So it's going to be a great little tie-together episode. So hope to see you around. I'm looking forward to sharing that story. Y'all take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.